Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Want to have some fun? Try this. I love waving at random people because you know what? For the rest of the day, they're going to try to figure out who in the heck I was. Morning, here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America on a Thursday. Holy moly, March 15th. We need a patriot with the Pledge of Allegiance. Call in. And a good morning to you. Welcome aboard Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a great big spring tire sale going on right now. And also including some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line. Please, let's have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Lorna. Go ahead.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
How's everything in Lorna's world this morning?
Yeah, could be better, but it's okay.
Okay. Thank you for doing the pledge. God bless you. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, and you have a great day, too.
All right, wonderful. Great lunch buncher right there. Right now it's time for the weather, and the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. Roger and the rest of the crew, they've been working since 7 o'clock this morning, and I know that we've had a little blip in the radar screen with the weather, a little bit of snow early this morning. I don't know if you got it. We did here at about 6:05, and but it's still time to be thinking about all the lawn and garden equipment that you need to get things spruced up and ready to go for spring. Hey, call them, 678-3122. Roger and the crew at K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway. They've got all the tools and equipment you need. Right now, let's find out what the weather's going to do.
Looks like mostly cloudy skies and on the breezy side for today, and maybe some snow showers for tomorrow. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Mostly cloudy skies. Winds out of the west-southwest right around 10 miles an hour. We are expecting gusts right around 20 and a high of 44 tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a low of 30 tomorrow. A chance of rain or snow showers in the afternoon. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 46 for Friday night. Chance of rain showers before midnight, and that could be increasing as we move through the overnight hours with a low of 31. Saturday, 50% chance of rain or snow showers, cloudy skies, high of 42. New accumulations of 1 to 2 inches possible for Saturday, and that could continue through Sunday as well. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 41. That's your weather. Just have it the rain.
Oh, my. Spring is still not going to prevail over winter, it looks like. Hey, K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. And contact them if you're not sure what you need to finish certain jobs, construction projects, whatever. They can, and they will help you. K&R Rental. Give them a call, 678-3122 on the Burley-Paul Highway. Right now, Merv May, come on in here.
All right. Hey, good set of steer calves. They're here to get all $31,
Oh, that's the chant of the world's best auctioneer, Merv May, at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Sale time this morning at 10:30 this morning at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard with Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy, the sale that works for you. Here's a little bit of the run going through the ring today, and I'll tell you what, going to be another ripping good sale. Ward Dairy. Hello, Ward Dairy. They're bringing in 125 head of 800-pound Holstein steers. Denny Whitaker out at Malta. Hello, Denny. 40 head of 500-pounders. Lamont Polson, my old buddy from down at Tremont. Now, 15 head of 700-pound Holstein steers. And CL Semper. Hello, CL. Over to Gooding Way, 25 head of 500-pounders. And butcher cows coming in from Funk Dairy, P-Bar S Dairy, and Acme Dairy. As I said, sale time at 10:30 this morning at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, hey, good set of steer calves there. Here to get $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 130, 550, 135, and I selling $35. Zeb Bell, get the bottom again.
I tell you what, thank you, Merv. Good guy. Called me again this morning. Let us know an update on what's going through the ring. Let's see. What have we got cooking today? We've got 9:06, the Chamber Report with Shay Lee. And then at 9:17, excellent interview with Robert Welker at Cassia Regional Hospital. Then Rita's going to be on the phone with us at 9:30. And we've got Superintendent of Schools, Galen Smyer, coming on. And one of my very, very favorite people is going to be on the air at 10:30 this morning, and that's Dr. Gerard Lamaro. And he has written a brand new book, More Great News for America. Absolutely a great book, and I can't wait to get him on. Don't forget our friends. Deanne, we got a little problem with this chair. We're going to have to fix it at 9 o'clock, I think. All of a sudden it started going down, lower and lower. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. They're open at 7:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday, till 5. And they do have all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. Yes, sirree, Bobby. All the experience with really, really good people that have been in business over there for almost 60 years. Wow. Burley is really proud of them. The whole area is proud of them. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, for all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. By the way, I quickly want to tell you that if you're hungry, I know a great place to go, and that is for breakfast, lunch, and dinner anytime, all the time at Denny's Restaurant. You know, I have never, ever been unhappy there. I've never been dissatisfied. The meals are great. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm partial to breakfast. And we have our Zeb's Lunch Bunch there, and it is always great. The service, phenomenal. Great people serving you at America's Diner. That sums it up at 611 North Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, and next Thursday, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Going to be a good meeting this next week. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I said it yesterday, and I said it before anybody else. The inference by a couple of calls was that, oh, well, you were just saying what other people are saying. No, I said it before they got on the news last night. I absolutely thought that the kids walking out of school yesterday was wrong. I said it was wrong, and I believe that I've been proven right. It turned into a liberal left plot to denigrate the NRA, denigrate its membership, and absolutely plea for the destruction of the Second Amendment and gun control. These kids were Democratic pawns, And I am not at all ashamed to say that. They were Democratic pawns for Pelosi, pardon me, I keep thinking of the horse Appaloosa. Anyway, Pelosi, Schumer, and Cuomo, and especially that little bitty short drink of water that absolutely has shown how rude he can be when he was at the State of the Union and got up and walked out in the middle of it, Representative Luis Gutierrez. And the chants that these kids supposedly were coming up with, NRA, how many did you kill today? This is pathetic. And even some of the kids yesterday that walked out of their schools, walked out of their classrooms, many of which were being led by so-called teachers aiding and abetting this insurrection, tore down the flag. They had instances where children were tearing down the American flag, your flag, my flag, our flag, the country's flag, and stomping on it. And the media frenzy to go along with this protest and pander to the left for gun control was absolutely pathetic. Let's kind of clear the page here a little bit. Number one, what happened in Florida, what happened at Columbine, what happened in other places with mass shootings at our schools is absolutely horrendous. And it's got to stop. It's got to stop, like, right now. Now, there seems to be this utopian attitude with the left that we can all gather around the maypole and sing Kumbaya and demand that all guns are gone. Well, gee, is that going to stop the bad guy with the bad will to go out and absolutely underground find a weapon and go do their evil bidding? No, it's not going to stop the bad people. And I absolutely agree with some of the people that have said it takes a good guy with a gun to bring down a bad guy with a gun, and that's exactly what we need to do. I am a proponent, and I'm not going to backwater on this, I am a proponent that we have highly trained individuals in law enforcement, highly trained individuals in military, whether they are active or whether they're retired, that should be protecting our kids in our school, because today evil is prominent in all aspects of our lives. Now, some of these kids came out and said that they absolutely wouldn't stand for guns in the school. Wait a minute. They wouldn't stand for? Let's make this an adult decision. Let's make this a decision that is going to protect these children in the schools. And if that is with trained personnel to absolutely observe and oversee what's going on, so be it. I'm all in favor of it. But I certainly don't want to see this country be dictated to by a democratically led by the nose, juvenile, 16, 17, and 18, bunch of kids demanding what they want in our society. What are your thoughts? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind you about Pomerel Place, a place for senior living. Oh, yes. You know, a lot of seniors want to live at home for as long as possible. They want to stay in the similar and familiar surroundings. And, of course, one big thing, they want to maintain their independence. They don't want to be beholden to anybody or anything. Well, that's good to a point. But when it comes to missing meals and missing medication and safety concerns, then you ought to consider right now, today, this minute, calling Pomerel Place, a place for senior living, and the number to call, 677-8212. Pomerel Place at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. Once again, that number, 677-8212. too. Caller, I will be right there. Do not go away. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. And I want to remind everybody about Dino Septic Service. Oh, you know I've been bragging on them since they have been here to serve us. They are the best at what they do, and they are the best at doing the septic tank pumping and the backhoe service and the septic tank and drain fields installed. And, of course, sewer and sink drain lines clean, liquid waste removal. The list goes on and on and on. They are the best. Fast, fair, friendly service, and the number to call, 436-6526. Or in Burley, 678-1638. I'm telling you, they are good. Dino Septic Service with that great big truck, smells cargo on the way, serving you. Caller, good morning, and thank you for your call.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
We need to take a walk back in history to Hitler. When he was disarming a nation, who did he use as props?
Absolutely.
To get the job done.
I know where you're headed on this. Go ahead.
He used children.
Yes.
I mean, he marched them out, had the kids asking for this and asking for that, and that's how it happened.
You know, Doug, nothing that any politician can do, nothing that any sports star or world-renowned actor or whatever entertainer can do will match what will get done when you parade a child or a group of children in front of the camera for their wants and needs that is orchestrated by the left.
Yes, because if you disagree with them or say don't know what they're talking about, then they belittle you because you have no concern over children.
The people like myself, I am a gun owner and I am a member of the NRA. I don't want to even ask what your status is. It's none of my business to put that on the air for you. However, I do not like being lumped into the category of being a killer, being a lunatic, being absolutely irresponsible when for no other reason of owning a gun is the fact that I'm protecting my family, my wife, and I and my property.
Exactly. So when you quit teaching history, actual history, how it happened, you're going to repeat it again.
I absolutely will not weaken on this, that yesterday's so-called walkout, and it was done in many, many areas, many, many schools with a very distasteful, the kids just getting up and ignoring what the hierarchy and administration had said what they could or could not do, and they just literally took it into their hands to be the boss of all things and walked out of the school. I found this to be apprehensible, the way their statements were. You know as well as I do, Doug, and I'm not denigrating young people, but some of the verbiage that was used yesterday at their various speeches up on the podiums was exactly driven by the left of the Schumers and the Pelosi's. You know that.
I know. It's almost word for word. And it was all, kids all the way across the nation repeating the same line.
Yes.
It's like mainstream media, they get the deal. This is the talking point today, and you can take every newscaster and go across on this subject, and they're saying basically the same thing, word for word almost. But you take a kid that's in high school. Okay, there are some that are very into politics and really follow it and know what they're talking about.
I agree.
But the majority of the kids in high school don't give a hoot about politics. The only thing they care about is who's wearing what, have I got a smartphone, and how many friends do I have on this app. And when somebody wants to do something, they're like sheep. They will follow.
But public policy and laws of this great nation cannot be subjected to a group of people that have not yet reached adulthood or voting age, and they cannot be dictated to by these kids in order to set a policy that could be a precedent against the laws and the Constitution of this country.
Exactly. And you go back 6 weeks ago, wasn't Congress talking to Tide and telling them they need to make their Tide Pods don't look so appetizing?
Yeah.
Because kids were eating them?
You know, stupid is as stupid does, and you cannot legislate, regulate, or even try to manipulate stupid.
Duct tape won't even fix it.
That's right.
A baseball bat will numb it for a little while, but it still won't fix it.
I looked and listened intently to some of these so-called speeches by these young people. And again, I want to reiterate right here my sympathies and my heartfelt sorrow for any and all students that, A, lost friends or were subjected to loss of family members. Well, absolutely, it's horrendous. But we have to look at a comprehensive safety program that may very well dictate that in these larger schools, in these larger metropolitan areas, and for that matter, the small rural schools, that there has to be a safety factor of good people defending against bad people with a show of force that will absolutely not bend.
Exactly. You know, and I feel for the kids back there too, but let's point the finger where it needs to be pointed.
Yeah.
On that incident back there, it was a failure of that sheriff's department,
yes,
Israel,
yes,
and his department and the FBI. The school had a folder on this guy. Excuse me. Had a folder on this guy on everything he'd done. And I guess it was packed full.
Yeah.
Of all the things he said. His psychiatrist. He said to the psychiatrist, I want to be a school shooter. I want mass casualties.
If that isn't enough to wave red flags and somebody say, hey, open the door and go get this guy, I don't know what is. Doug, I've got to get a commercial break in here. Thank you so much.
Okay. Oh, and there's one other thing that I'd like to say on this gun deal. You take guns away from all the NRA members that have committed mass shootings, or you take the ones that committed mass shootings, 90% of them are Democrats. So let's take the guns away from the Democrats, and we could stop 90% of these mass shootings.
Well, I'm just going to say this. I think that right now, more than ever before in my lifetime, the Constitution is under a real frontal assault, whether it's the Second Amendment or the First Amendment with our freedom of speech, both of which I'm looking at right now that have the heels of their boots on the edge of the cliff, and the left is trying to push it over.
Exactly, and the Fourth Amendment also.
Yes, I agree. Doug, thank you so much.
Anyway, hey, everybody, let's do what we can for our seniors. God bless.
All right, thank you. Don't forget Rogge Auctions. They're going to have that big spring consignment sale at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds, and that's right over there in Rupert, starting at 10 o'clock on March 24th, Saturday, March 24th. And they're looking for and waiting for you to call and make your consignments, whether it's farm equipment, lawn and garden, panels, gates, shop equipment, ATVs, pickup trucks, trailers. Hey, call Kate at 431-0074, Ron at 431-6187, or Jed 670-4042. Rogge Auction Service Spring Consignment Sale at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds, Saturday, March 24th. Also, a quick reminder about our friends with Lennox. Oh, my goodness sakes. Yes, we want to remind you, Airvana is defined as the ultimate level of comfort you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. And now, when you buy a new Lennox system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to $1,700 in rebates. Airvana is just another great way that they can make you feel better, so call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 208-678-0459. Calls are welcome and appreciated at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call on the landline. I would love to hear from you. And I've got another story that I want to get on here. An Indian genealogist, and she is a Cherokee Indian from Oklahoma. She has done some research and studies on Elizabeth Warren's past family members. We'll talk about that in a minute. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. The Senior Junction is having roast beef today and all the trimmings. And what a meal. tomorrow we're having finger steaks, and old Joe's, he's going to buy, first time senior's never been there, senior or a couple, I'll buy their lunch today or tomorrow.
Well, Joe, we'll send them over. You have been so gracious almost every week to call and say that for first-timers that have never been to the Senior Junction on Overland, stop in and say, hey, I'm a first-timer, and Joe's going to buy your lunch right there at the Senior Junction. Joe, God bless you for that.
Thank you for all that you do.
All right, my dear friend. You take care of yourself. Thank you, Joe Taylor. That man, thank you, sir. That man, Joe Taylor, is absolutely a wonder, and I'm very pleased and pleasured to know him. He's a super, super man. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I was watching this interview about this genealogist, and she is, like I said, a Cherokee Indian from Oklahoma. And she did quite a bit of study about Elizabeth Warren's past with her great-great-great-grandparents right up to modern time. And when simply asked if Elizabeth Warren was an Indian of Cherokee descent, the lady looked right at the camera and said, no, there is no proof. None in her lineage. And what really makes me upset about this is that Elizabeth Warren is not only a liar, which should be totally disrespected, but she is using these lies to perpetrate and promote a political purpose. There's a lot of P's there. Perpetrate and promote a political purpose. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. And how could anyone on the right or left want to even think or acknowledge her as a potential presidential candidate, to which she probably is going to throw her hat in the ring? She's a liar. She's falsified many things, and she's not to be trusted. Elizabeth Warren is not Pocahontas in any way, shape, or form. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Oh, Nick Greenwell and the rest of his great professional staff of physical therapists can and will help you. Whether you're recouping from a surgery or an accident, whatever, they know all the exercises. And, of course, they have that hydrotherapy pool there, the best and the only one of its kind in the area. And they urge you to call and make an appointment today at 678-1191. That number again, 678-1191. The best. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. You get a hold of them today. I have a question, and I need you folks to help me out on this. And I really do encourage you to call me after I pose this question to you and help me with an answer, if you would please. Here's the question. If the liberal left, now really follow me on this carefully, because I was thinking about this last night while I was watching a basketball game of all things. If the liberal left is demanding all of us to accept their so-called science, that climate change is caused by mankind, and they say that almost all the scientists in the world agree. And then there's been articles slamming our Representative Lance Clow, and there's been other articles about why won't people just believe in science? Why we're supposed to adhere to just what they say about their science. Well, then let me ask you this question. Why won't the loony left accept that biologically there are only two genders? And that is a slam dunk, gimme, absolute, bona fide fact. male and female. But the liberal left, the loons with the transgender movement and so-called progressive movement, are out there saying that we need to accept the fact that there are now over 72, and I can't figure out how they came up with that number, 72 genders, and we're supposed to respect all those different genders, but when it comes right down to brass tacks, and you're sitting in sophomore biology, there are only 2 genders, and the rest is just nothing but being ludicrous, stupid, and foolish. There was a young man, a college young man, that was told to leave the classroom because he spoke up and said, wait a minute, why are you teaching all this garbage about 72, 48, 63 genders? There are only 2. There is a male and a female. And the teacher couldn't handle that and asked the student to leave the classroom, and now the Board of Regents is trying to get him kicked out. He paid for his college education, and he's the only one showing any common sense. Why in the world is our society biting into a cookie of absolute stupidity with all these different genders? It's nothing but la-la fairy tale land. You can be anything you want to be. Today you're a giraffe. Tomorrow you're a daffodil. Oh, you're not a male anymore. You're a female. This is complete lunacy. Someone the other day said, well, you got to have respect for their opinion. No, I don't, because it's absolute craziness. There are. I hope this will settle the issue. There are only 2 genders, male and female. The rest of all this garbage needs to be taken out and thrown away. It's stupid, absolutely insane. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Once again, Nirvana is defined as the ultimate level of comfort you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. And when you buy a new Lennox system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to $1,700 in rebates. Nirvana is just another great way to make you feel better. So call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459. You know, don't be quiet on these issues, folks. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, I've got a question for you. How many genders of giraffe are there?
This is a foolish question because there are only 2, a male and a female, Jerry.
How many genders of a cat are there?
Okay, same answer. What's your point?
Okay, how many genders of a dog is there?
Jerry, what's your point? There are only 2.
My point is, we are a human, and there are only 2 genders of a human. You're just trying to change our classification.
Who is?
Whoever these guys are that are saying there's 78 genders.
Well, it's absolute lunacy, and I can't imagine in an age and an era of perhaps better educated people how they could be so stupid as to ignore the fact that when everything is taken away, all this different garbage is thrown out in the dump, there are still only going to be 2 genders, and that is absolute fact. The other is all a comic book fictition.
And how many types of politicians are there?
Oh, let's not go there, Jerry, because I could give you a different answer on that one.
Well, I'll give you the 2 I have. There's politicians that are honest, people that are working for the country and the people, and there are politicians that are dishonest, that are not working for the country and the people.
Well, yeah, that's, and then there's other shades of gray there, but as far as this gender foolishness, it's absolute foolishness that is put forth by the left as an agenda to destroy the moral value and the real good fiber of our society. And let's get down to the basics. It's so damn dumb, I don't know why anybody would buy into it.
well, I don't buy into it at all, and I just thought I'd make my point. I'll get out of your way. May the Lord bless you and your whole audience, and keep on keeping on.
All right, Jerry, you are always welcome, my dear friend. Thank you. Thank you. That man has been one of our real staunch supporters, and I appreciate him, Jerry Voss, and his lovely wife. Thank you very much. I really am getting upset about this because here we're supposedly a very smart and sophisticated society, and we're coming up with this absolute Porky Pig cartoon of 72 genders. Oh, come on. People, wake up. Take a good sip and smell of that coffee and realize just how absolutely pathetic this is. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to tell you that yesterday, a great big Democrat with way too much paunch for his suit, because when he buttoned it, he looked like he was going to bulge out at the rest of the seams. He gets up behind a podium, and he's making a press conference notification that he and the Democrats think that when I and others like me criticize Nancy Pelosi for her comment of saying, well, the tax rebates of $1,000 were just crumbs, that we shouldn't do that anymore because we are sexist. Wow. I had to think about that one for a while. So I guess Mr. Protector in the too small suit for his frame was saying that myself and others that are criticizing Nancy Pelosi because she said an absolutely stupid thing when somebody's being handed back from their work $1,000, and that's crumbs. And Nancy said, well, that's crumbs. When we criticize Nancy, then we're sexist. This is the left, like Doug said earlier. This is the left at their very bottom of the barrel, pond scum worst. They can take any criticisms and turn it around and go after the criticizers, and then those people are wrong, and they're bigots, and they're hate mongers. They're really good at this. I never even once thought at any time that the stupid remarks by Nancy Pelosi calling $1,000 as a tax rebate crumbs had anything to do with sexism. It was a remark from a woman that should have been turned out to pasture a long time ago and never been allowed back into politics because she just didn't use any common sense. It could have been male or female. There certainly wasn't any sexism involved. It was just Nancy Pelosi. Give me your thoughts. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Do you have ringing in your ears? And I don't mean if you're standing next to church bells or whatever, but it's called tinnitus. And if it's bothering you, I know a place that you should absolutely call, and they can help, and that's Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And, of course, you know they're right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and the number to call, 312-0957. Dr. Pickup and Dr. Mitchell absolutely can help you with this, so please learn more about this potential problem and all your hearing problem needs. Call them for an appointment at 312-0957. Right now, they're sponsoring the weather. Here it is.
Looks like mostly cloudy skies and on the breezy side for today, and maybe some snow showers for tomorrow. Here's your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch. Mostly cloudy skies. Winds out of the west-southwest right around 10 miles an hour. We are expecting gusts right around 20 and a high of 44 tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a low of 30 tomorrow. A chance of rain or snow showers in the afternoon. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 46 for Friday night. chance of rain showers before midnight, and that could be increasing as we move through the overnight hours with a low of 31. Saturday, 50% chance of rain or snow showers, cloudy skies, high of 42. New accumulations of 1 to 2 inches possible for Saturday, and that could continue through Sunday as well. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 41. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Wow, it sounds like at least for the next 4 or 5 days it might get a little greasy, slippery, and chilly, and snowy, and rainy outside. Well, that's the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And please, you can trust your hearing to Dr. Pickup and Dr. Mitchell at Mount Harrison Audiology. Call for an appointment today for a hearing health evaluation at 312-0957. Call me. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to hear what you have to say today. Give me a call, please, and we'll get your thoughts on the air. That's what this program's all about. I got to say that talking about strong women, good women with a good intention, woo! I am impressed with Nikki Haley, the United States Ambassador to the United Nations. Now, simply put, I don't think I would want to be on the bad side of Nikki Haley. She is a very, very direct, very poignant speaker. And when she lowered the boom on Russia yesterday, as far as their dastardly deed of poisoning a father and a daughter, and using chemical weapons and the absolute heinous crime that was committed, she gave Russia a very good verbal whipping yesterday. And the Russian ambassador sitting there tried to push off the statements by looking busy or turning around and talking to an aide or shuffling papers. But I'll tell you what, her persona, Nikki Haley's persona, is needed more in Washington, D.C. And she is basically telling any country that attempts to walk on us or our allies, she's going to smoke them out. I really have a lot of respect for Nikki Haley. What are your thoughts about this lady? Come on, give me a jingle. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. I would like to go back a little bit to some of these statements that were made by kids yesterday. Kids, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, blaming the National Rifle Association, the NRA, for the United States problems with killers, mass shooters, etc. And where in the world is the outrage, like Doug and I were talking earlier this morning, that should be directed to a complete comedy of errors, and it certainly isn't funny, from school officials, from the sheriff's department down in Broward County, Sheriff Israel, and the FBI absolutely dropping the ball on various tips that were phoned in about this kid, the shooter. But yet it's so easy, I guess, to point your finger and say some really rough and ragged language against God-fearing homeowners like myself that are members of the NRA that haven't done a thing wrong except abide by the law and will continue to abide by the law. But I guess we're an easy target from the left that is orchestrating movements like this yesterday with these kids. What are your thoughts on this? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, don't leave me hanging. I want you to give me a call. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and their rolling rolling into spring with the big spring tire sale. Oh, for goodness sakes, on your cars, your pickups, your SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever you need tires for. They've got many of their tires on sale for you, like the Ultra Z900 for your passenger cars, the ultimate in tire technology. Stop in and check that out. And don't forget, too, I keep telling you, but it's really the truth, and you need to adhere to this. They have the best of brake service with highly trained brake technicians and front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, the best. But above all, you're going to be very impressed with the service at all 7 locations. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Yep, the best, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know, I sometimes think on this program that certain topics, and some people don't want to respond or call on the air because they may be worried for some reason that their neighbors might hear them, and I feel bad about that, because never ever be cowed or be worried about what other people think about your personal opinion. That's what this country is all about. That's what our First Amendment is all about, with free speech. You have a right to your own opinion and the right of expression on that opinion. And I urge you to speak out on this show, regardless of the topic. Please, give me a jingle, 436-2244. You know who Sean Penn is? Every time I see that guy, I wonder how, with very limited educational resources, he didn't go very far in school, how in the world he could have ever become a so-called star in Hollywood. I mean, he is not the brightest light in the fixture, let me tell you that. Well, now, according to some reports that I've heard this morning and some of the people I talked to back east, Sean Penn has written a book. That's kind of earth-shattering news right there. That seems to parallel, allegedly seems to parallel, President Trump in the book, even though he's not named, and the potential of assassination. It's a very, very sinister plot in this book. And Sean Penn has been very vocal over the years of hating, like Robert De Niro, hating President Trump. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yesterday I was in Pocatello to the VA deal. Me and a colored guy got to talking a little bit. Finally he said, "Do you know what you got if you got Hillary and Oprah together?" And I said, "No." And he says, "You got a black bag of bones and a white bag of bones."
Okay. Thank you for that enlightening story, Bob, as usual. And you said this was from another...
Kind of comical, and we talked about several things. He says, "I thought I could tell you something about a white person if I put a black person with it."
You know, so, wait a minute, Bob, listen to me for a minute, and don't hang up. You know, what happened with this conversation that you had yesterday is something that I have said for a long time needs to be done in this country. There has to be an expression of acceptance on both sides, whether it's the blacks, the whites, the Hispanics, whatever. We need to be able to sit down like you did and converse with this man, and there's a sharing of ideas, maybe a sharing of a little humor. That's the one thing we've lost in this country, is the ability to laugh at each other and then go on. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I would agree with that. And Mr. Obama, or whatever he is, he took care of all that.
Yeah, unfortunately he did. Bob, thank you very much. I appreciate your call. Thank you.
Have a good day, Zebedee.
I will, my friend.
It's snowing here. Bye.
All right, thank you. You know, I think that's so sad. I've got friends of every race, every ethnicity. I do, and I'm proud of it. And we can sit down and laugh about it, and we can sit and tell stories, and we can talk about the news, and shake hands, get up, and everybody go their separate ways, and then get back together again in the future. But the world is being painted that we have to be so segregated. It's worse now today than I think it was in many locations and times during the 60s. And the left wants that division. The left wants that hatred. The left wants that insurrection. If you think I'm wrong, just listen to a newscast, watch a newscast, or pick up the paper. Nobody seems to really care about sitting down and talking and getting to know someone. I'm going to take a little break, and we'll be back at about 9:06. Don't you go away. Zev at the Ranch. Wheels, take it away. Oh, good morning to you on a Thursday, Zev at the Ranch, of course, with our big sponsor, your great Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Don't forget all 7 locations serving you, and right now they're having a great big spring tire sale. Stop in and see them today. Along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Also want to remind you about our friends with Lennox and Airvana. Airvana is defined as the ultimate level of comfort you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. When you buy a new Lennox home comfort system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can save up to $1,700 in rebates. Woo! Wow! Airvana is just another great way to make you feel better. So call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 208-678-0459. And before we go over to the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, I also want to remind you about a dear friend of this program. We're going to have him on, I hope, next week. Joel Heward, the manager, along with his family and his staff at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Now, here's the number right up front. I want you to know this. 436-5636. 436-5636. Joel, the family, the staff at Hanson Mortuary, always treating you and your family with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. When there's the passing of a loved one, they are there to serve you. Please call them today, 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Right now, a lovely lady is waiting to come on the air, and she is with the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. Wheels, she's not there?
She's not. I tried calling to the chamber because she hadn't called in yet, and I spoke to Jackie, and she had given me her cell phone, but she's not answering either. Jackie had mentioned that. Well,
call back and get Jackie and have her come on the air with us real quick, okay?
All right.
Real fast, buddy. I appreciate that. Okay. And while Wheels is going to take care of that, that'll give me just a little bit of an opportunity to also tell you about some really good folks. And that's, of course, our friends at Let's Ride. Holy moly, Nick and the rest of the crew over there at Let's Ride. And they have got all the four-wheelers for you. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, did you hear the weather forecast? It might snow some more. Yeah, I know, but spring is right around the corner. And they've got all the four-wheelers over there in the side-by-sides. They got a whole showroom full of what I would say fun. Absolutely. And by the way, too, if you have a four-wheeler and you haven't had it serviced yet for this spring and summer, better get it in there. Tyson and the crew in their service department, best department around. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24, between Rupert and the World. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. Do not forget, Let's Ride. This is where the fun is sold. Did we get a hold of Jackie over there, Wheels?
Yes, sir, I did. She's on the phone.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you very much. Good morning. How are you, Jackie?
Good morning, Dad. How are you?
Good. What's cooking at the minute?
A little blustery day.
I know it. It's going into a change, I think, over the next couple of weeks. We're going to see spring, but it's going to come in with a little bit of a rocky road.
Comes in, goes out, comes in, what is it, like a lion, goes out like a lamb?
Yeah, I hope
think
so.
It's going to happen.
Okay.
It's going to be a lion.
What's going on over at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce?
There's something I really want to talk about today, and that is Idaho living. Every year we do a women's seminar. This year we're changing it up a little bit. We're going to have it on May 5th, and it's a Saturday, so everybody's welcome to come. And it's going to be at Nature's Nursery and Marketing. We're going to have vendors. We're having food trucks and fashion shows, demos on gardening, Gardening 101. We're having Idaho living, the best trails and places to go on hiking and boating. And we're going to have grilling classes. We're just filling it up that whole day, the week before Mother's Day. And Nature's Nursery is also going to do a little make and take for kids to put together a little pot for their mamas for Mother's Day. So we're just way excited about this.
Jackie, I think this is a really good idea. I think that it's going to be long overdue in putting something like this on, especially at that time of the year, especially to get people enthused about outdoor activities, especially to learn about all the sponsorships. How do people get involved?
They contact me here at the Chamber, 679-4793, or they can send me an email, Jackie@minnicasiachamber.com. That's a really easy one to remember. And we have all kinds of vendor spaces available. We also went out to all the art classes throughout our community and put out there, we wanted them to do a little art project, what Idaho living means to them, and it had to be done in the shape of the state of Idaho. And this morning we picked our winners, and so they'll be announced that day. And we're going to print up our the major winning poster, and it will be available to purchase that day. And we're also going to have for sale here in our visitor center. Well, you know how we all love Idaho. It offers so much for everybody, and so we just really want to promote healthy living in Idaho.
Now, let me ask you this. I had a call the other day after the program with Shaylee, and she mentioned about where this is going to be held. I think you said at Nature's Nursery, right?
Nature's Nursery and Market.
Okay, now.
It's right there on the corner of Highway 81. You met where Edith's Burger Place is at. It's just right there. They opened up last year, and they are really showing the area where you can buy good plants, and we're just really glad to partner up with them on this.
All right. Well, see, that was one of the questions. They said, we're not familiar with where that's located. I said I would ask you on the air, and you provided that information. Now, this is going to be all in one day? Holy moly, you've got a lot of things to cram in there in one day.
We do, from 10 to 2. 10 to 3. And so it's going to be a full day, but you can come and go, and there's no entrance fee. We've always charged before, and then we furnish lunch this year. We're opening the doors to everybody. And if they want food, we're going to have various food trucks there. There's going to be Robin's Roost, and Papa Murphy's. We're having Peggy Sue's with barbecue, and I can't remember all of them, but there's going to be several there. Plus, of course, there's Moss Custard right there on the corner. And if you haven't had Moss Custard, you're missing out.
Okay.
You really need some.
Hey, Jackie, what about now? You may have said it a moment ago, but what about booth space? I mean, is there limited booth space? What would you tell people about that?
I would say give me a call, and I'll be happy to send you a map, see what's available. We're going to have side-by-sides and all kinds of things there, boats. We're hoping to have some RVs there for people if they're searching for an RV to come and check them out. We're having just all kinds of different vendors that have signed up so far. There is one, New York Life, that is going to, as their booth, they're going to do kids' identification tags, which I think is really a smart way to go with people, especially if you have little kids. So sorry, I'm really hoarse. I've had bronchitis, so I'm having a hard time talking. Sorry.
No, you're doing an excellent job this morning, and I hope you feel better. But real quick, what is kind of the cutoff for booth spaces as far as being sold? I mean, do you have a definite cutoff date so people need to hurry and get this taken care of?
Yes. Right now, I just opened it up last week. So if you want to come in, and that way you can pick where you want to be more than just me telling you where you're going to be. So by May 1st, so I won't be accepting any booth space after May 1st. So we have 6 by 5 spaces. We have 10 by 10 spaces and 20 by 30 spaces. So
okay. Well, Jackie, I wish you the best. I hope you get over that bronchitis. There's been a lot of that.
So horsey.
Well, you're doing a good job. And again, give us the number of the chamber and the hours that you're open so people can call or stop in.
We are 679-4793, and we are open 9 to 5, and we're located at 1177 7th Street, Hayburn.
Okay, now go take whatever kind of home recovery medicine you have and feel better next week.
All right. Thanks, Zeb.
All right. God bless. Thank you.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Nice lady over there at the Chamber of Commerce, Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. We appreciate Jackie coming on the air. Going to be a lot of fun. Right now, I want to remind everybody about the Idaho legislative update. We have been blessed. Handy Truck Lines. I mean, we made one call to Handy Truck Lines, and we said, would you like to sponsor our Idaho legislative update every Tuesday at 9:30? Clay Handy and the crew jumped right in, and they are very proud to support this program, and they're very proud of the good men and women that our area continually sends up to the legislative session. So, ladies and gentlemen, our thanks go out to a company that has been in operation over 90 years and still serving the Northwest, Handy Truck Lines. Over in Paul with Clay Handy, thank you for sponsoring the Idaho legislative update on Zeb at the Ranch. We also want to acknowledge some really good people over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Have you heard? If you haven't, you'd better pay attention. They're celebrating their anniversary sale this week, 1 week only. Up to 3 years, interest-free on approved credit, and 30 to 40% off on items like your sofas and your recliners and your dining room sets and your media cabinets. And they've got a newly expanded sleep center with all the mattresses and all the carpet and the flooring. What are you waiting for? Get in there right now to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley with our dear friend Jeff Bronson and his entire very knowledgeable staff. At Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, celebrating their big anniversary sale right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we started this program about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I'm very impressed with the people that are on this show with the Cassia Regional Hospital, and today is no exception. We're going to have a 4-part interview with Robert Welker with Cassia Regional. Let's hear the program for this morning.
People caring about you and your health care in the most professional and progressive ways. That's Cassia Regional Hospital, located at 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. In a moment, we'll introduce you to just one of the many dedicated medical experts serving you at Cassia Regional Hospital. Today's program, right after this. Cassia Regional Hospital provides you and your family excellent health care answers and services. They're right here, close to home. That's right. Cassia Regional Hospital offers the latest technological advances in medicine, like their new oncology programs and telehealth, which uses electronic information and telecommunications to promote long-distance patient and clinical health care. Your friends, your neighbors. Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care, close to home. Right now at your Cassia Regional Hospital, we have Robert Welker, and he's got a list of titles behind his name, MS, RDN, LD, and he is the clinical dietitian. What do all those titles and letters mean, Robert? Explain that to us.
Yeah, no problem. So the MS is I have a master's in nutrition and dietetics. The RDN stands for Registered Dietitian Nutritionist, and the LD stands for Licensed Dietitian, so licensed in the state of Idaho to practice dietetics.
Okay, so you're basically a man of food, right?
Exactly, Zeb.
Okay. Now, March is National Nutrition Month, and I've got a whole bunch of questions to ask you. But with food, and also comes the worry of obesity and, of course, diabetes. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about diabetes and obesity today, and how serious is it in the state of Idaho for adults and children?
To give you a little bit of percentages and, looking at that, so right now the adult obesity rates in Idaho is about 27.4%. Diabetes in adults is about 8.9%. But then if we start looking at childhood, from 2 to 4 years old, we're looking about 11.6 of children are obese in Idaho. Scarily, 10 to 17-year-olds in Idaho are 26% of those 10 to 17-year-olds are obese. So those numbers are kind of staggering right now.
Robert, why today in 2018 is there more prominence of diabetes, or is it that we're more aware of it? What's the reason?
I think a little bit of both, but if you think back to your grandparents or great-grandparents, those type of family members, they were out on the farm, working and being physically active. They were eating in the kitchen, but then they were heading out to milk the cows or to throw hay bales or do those kind of things. And, I think we were just a lot more physically active back then. Exercise is an excellent way to prevent diabetes. And I think those family members that came before us were just a little bit more active. Unfortunately, today we have a lot of the screen time and the TV and the cell phones and things that we're just sitting down on the couch a lot, and we don't get up and move, and we don't let our bodies get that natural way of preventing diabetes and obesity.
Okay, now, what about me or anyone else that's listening to this program? Is there a way that you can kind of give yourself a pre-screening or maybe some kind of a heads up that you might have a problem with diabetes? What do we do?
Yeah, we have a pretty comprehensive pre-diabetes risk test here at Cassia Hospital, but just as a general kind of give yourself a quick screen, some of the main things are if you're a man, you're a little bit more likely to have diabetes. If your mother, father, sister, brother, any family members that are close relatives have had diabetes, you'd be a little bit more prone. If you've ever been diagnosed with high blood pressure, depending upon how physically active you are, if you're very sedentary and you don't get out and be active, that's going to be a ding for you. If you feel like your weight is a little bit overweight or you're getting into those areas of obesity, then that raises your risk for diabetes. And then a little bit on age. If you're 40 or younger, then you're a little less likely, but once you get to 40, 50, 60, your risk does go up for diabetes.
Okay, so it's easy to say what the risk may be and the age brackets, but really, when you're sitting around the kitchen table or watching TV at night, what are some of the signs and symptoms that people need to be aware of about diabetes?
Yeah, some of the common symptoms and signs of diabetes are you might feel an increase of thirst or hunger, even if you're drinking and eating. Increased urination during the day and night. If you're frequently getting up at night to have to go to the bathroom, and that could be a sign symptom. Dry mouth or cotton mouth, that feeling of when you wake up or throughout the day. If you've lost any weight, but not intentionally, so sometimes that'll be a good indication. Constant fatigue, like blurred vision, skin discoloration, maybe a wound that won't heal. Some of these things are signs and symptoms of diabetes, and that's when you'd want to definitely get checked out.
Well, now there's been diabetes in my family, and it was basically the old adage that I've heard is that it can go from father to daughter and then maybe daughter to son in the chain. Is that true?
It is more likely that when you have family members that have diabetes, kind of like when I was doing that pre-screening test, if you have a brother or father or mother or just a close relative that's had diabetes, it increases your risk of also getting it.
Okay, so let's assume that you have got some of the symptoms and people automatically are going to go, oh my, the end of the world is near. What steps do they need to take from that point?
I would definitely recommend having a discussion at your next doctor checkup, just letting them know some of the signs and symptoms that you've been experiencing, or if you're even worried about it a little, just ask. And there's easy tests that a doctor can run and get things checked out.
What about the different things that Cassia Regional Hospital does to inform people, or what kind of tools do they provide them for the information and the awareness of diabetes? What's available there?
We're very active in the community. We try to get out and get the awareness out. We do a annual health fair where you can come over to the hospital and do a pre-screening just right there, and they even can take labs and check your blood sugars and things like that to see if you're in that realm of prediabetes or diabetes. So there's a lot of good information here at the hospital, and also those tools that you can do to screen and to find out if you do have diabetes.
Robert, one last question for this program, and I know we're going to do some other commentaries with you, but what about it today, diabetes? Is it all because we're a fast food society and we don't sit down at the dinner table and eat balanced meals? I mean, really, what are the major causes?
Yeah, I think you hit it on the nail. I think we are a fast food society. We like to eat carbs and things that are easy, snack foods and junk food and sugary sodas and things like that. We really need to get back to that eating a balanced diet and not overloading on carbs or something specific and cutting out the fruits and vegetables.
So if people have questions, and I'm sure that you have the answers right there at Cassia Regional, they can pick up the phone, and how do they get a hold of you, and how do they get the information necessary to really understand diabetes?
So we have a direct line you can call. It's 208-677-6290. That's our diabetes office at Cassia Regional. And you are more than welcome to call, and we can set you up for an appointment and get you in connection with your doctor. You can call the main hospital, and they have people that can answer questions and route you to the necessary spot as well.
I'm talking to Robert Welker, and he is the clinical dietitian at Cassia Regional Hospital, just one of the many very professional people serving you. Tune in every Thursday at 9:18 right here on Zeb at the Ranch for more about the people and the healthcare services at your Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care close to home.
We did 4 interviews with Mr. Welker, and I want to encourage you to listen next week. Another great show talking about food and your health. Very, very interesting. And those good folks with Cassia Regional Hospital, thank you very much. By the by, let's not forget, too, our dear friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. My goodness, the very best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this for the protection of you, your family, and your business. I urge you to get a hold of them today. Number to call, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Absolutely the best. I have a public service note I need to get on here right now. Yesterday we heard all about this with Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fishing Game. If you want to earn a college credit while fishing, that's right, you can sign up for the Wild About Fishing Workshop that's going to be held at the Jerome, Idaho Department of Fish and Game office on Friday afternoon and Saturday, April 13th and 14th. Call them at 324-4359. That number again, 324-4359, and just imagine Kelton Hatch, the instructor. Woo! Gonna be good. All right. Hey, we're about ready to have a lovely lady come on our program, as she is every week, as kind of a political analyst as to what's going on in the world of politics. And let's see if she's there right now. Good morning, Rita Ramsey. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. Thank you.
Rita, there is no end of what's going on in the news. Every single day there seems to be more twists and turns and different angles, etc. But I want to get your reaction as a mother and a grandmother because of what I may have said yesterday. Maybe you didn't agree with me. But I absolutely was against the kids, the students, walking out of school and basically taking a situation into their own hands and basically becoming pawns of the left that we heard many interviewed on television. Many were giving speeches in condemnation of the NRA, condemnation of people that own guns, condemnation of our president and others. What were your thoughts about what took place yesterday?
Well, first of all, my thoughts were, I'll bet you there are tons and tons and tons of mothers who think this was a noble thing for the kids to take out of school for 17 minutes and honor those kids who had been shot. And I don't know if they really knew what the kids would be leaving for, except that, we're just making a statement. It was all political. It was all left-leaning, and it's really sad because when you start thinking about those who were who had organized the march, and that march started being organized on the 16th of February, 2 days after that shooting. So it was that deal of kind of like, don't let a good catastrophe go to waste. Find something good and ride on the coattails of it. And those women who were organizing that, many of them, the co-chairs, were co-chairs of the Women's March, but they're friends of Farrakhan, and we all know how rabid he is. And, I mean, he says stuff like, white folks are going down, and Jews, your time is up, and he's never been censored. And that's what's really, makes you just wonder why he wouldn't be censored, and many other people who try to speak their piece do. The other ladies who were organizing that is Angela Davis. Does that ring a bell?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a Communist Party person and a buddy with Hugo Chavez.
Right.
Which brings up a point that I was going to make. If these people are so pro-Hugo Chavez, who is starving his people to death, how come they're not down there in Venezuela feeding the kids if they're so interested in the kids?
Yeah. Rita, I watched with great intensity the people, the political figureheads that just happened to be already and programmed to give their anti-NRA, anti-Donald Trump, anti-gun ownership speeches yesterday. And the one, I know I'm sounding petty, but the one person that just made my skin crawl because I find him to be a little worm, and that's the man that jumped up out of the State of the Union address and walked out of the chamber, and that was Representative Luis Gutierrez from Illinois. This man, along with Schumer, Pelosi, etc., they were despicable.
Well, they were, and the part that's really sad is, and it was mentioned earlier, I think it was Doug probably who mentioned it, how these kids are being used as pawns, and that's exactly what happened with the Hitler people and the Nazis. They started pulling their kids in and using them as pawns, and pretty soon they had a pretty good-sized following, and then they could do what they needed to do, what their agenda was, which was eradicating the Jews and a lot of other people, the disabled and old people and that type of thing. The part that really makes me irritated about this is there was a letter, or not a letter, there was an article about a California teacher who was sent home after questioning the double standard on the school gun control protests, and she wondered, okay, so if this protest on gun violence and stuff is going to happen in Washington, what's the deal with it? Would they let you have a walk on anti-abortion and that type of thing? And when that all came up, she was suspended and sent home.
Rita, you bring up an interesting point, and I was thinking about this the other day, that no matter what the subject matter, where there's a direct divide between left and right in this country, whether it's gun control, whether it's abortion, whether it's the economy, or whether it's national security, whether it's immigration, there is a distinct divide between the right and the left. And if at any time the right would organize and synchronize a walkout of the students, let's say to support their immigration bills that need to be more stringent and promote the border wall, etc., it ain't going to happen, Rita.
Well, that's right. It wouldn't. And then it's just all, if you go along with what these professors and that have been programmed to tell and to do, and they've made sure that their administrators and teachers and anybody below them believes the same way, and you go by our rules and nobody else's, and don't say anything. If you stand up, we'll tell you to shut up, and you better do so or you're going to be out of here. The part that's really sad about this is that yesterday, students at a Nashville, Tennessee high schools added stomping on American flag to their protest.
Yes.
And this is what's really sad, is it's just totally out of control. And it was meant to get people up in arms, anti-America, and anti-everything else. And if there's enough screaming and yelling and hollering about this anti-gun stuff, there's lots of people who are going to start believing that that's the way that it needs to be, without taking any look at the Constitution or history or why that gives us the rights in the Constitution that the government can't take away our arms. People just don't have a clue. They're just so ignorant to the facts that It's really sad, and they're just willing to go along with those who are speaking the loudest.
Well, and, I'm glad you brought that up about these kids. And Wheels, we got a little feedback there. But about these kids, 15, 16-year-olds stomping on our American flag, and then others chanting NRA. How many did you kill today? This was an orchestrated mess that absolutely was geared for the left to do nothing more than be for the left, and I found it appalling.
Well, I do too, and these people who organized it know that when you start getting people irritated and upset about things, they'll start doing irrational things, and it just starts leading from one thing to another, and pretty soon you've just got a horrible, horrible situation going, and rioting and all kinds of stuff, and pretty soon they start tearing things apart, and I mean, it just goes from one thing to the other, and that's exactly what their agenda was to get these students all up in arms about it and irritated, and then they'll be mad if the police try to stop them, so they'll start rebelling even more. And I mean, it just goes from one thing to the next, and these organizers knew that, and they're just trying to push their agenda and having the kids, get behind them and do their thing, and meanwhile they're sitting back saying, oh, this is going just like we planned.
I question one other aspect of this story that I don't think anybody else has asked about. And I listened all last night, and I didn't hear any other commentators ask about this question. Where are the parents? Where are the parents that are trying to bring their kids up into doing, saying, and acting in a responsible manner? Where were the parents?
Well, that's just the problem, is the parents were probably thinking, oh, this is just a harmless little thing, instead of saying, hold on a minute, you're going to stay home today, or I'm going to be in there, asking the principal's office, just what the heck you think things are happening? What's going on? Do they even know? Because a lot of the people are not in tune with the news. They don't have a clue.
Absolutely right. We have a caller with a question. Make it short and sweet. Please, caller, you're on the air. Thank you.
Yeah, these kids in Germany, they become brownies, brown coats. And then they started turning in their neighbors, and then they started turning in their parents if they didn't meet up to the expectations. And hopefully, it looks like that's where we're headed.
Hold on, caller. What you're saying sounds so sinister, and it sounds so absolutely incredible, but I agree with you. We are seeing the same rules and methods applied that were applied 70-some years ago, and the naivete of the American public, why in the world can't they wake up?
I agree.
Thank you. Rita, how would you respond to both what he said and what I said?
No, he's absolutely right. And if you go back and look at history and read about the brown coats and those who got in lockstep behind Hitler, that's exactly who they were. And that's why these people who were so pro-communist and pro-Hugo Chavez and all of these other dictator-type people, that's exactly what they want, is they want to get the kids in lockstep behind them so that they can shout orders and they'll go ahead and execute the orders just the way that they're asked to do. And where parents are not doing what they're supposed to be doing is they should be informed as to all this stuff that's going on. But I'll bet you that the majority of the parents don't have a clue. It was a good gesture, and we were doing it to be in solidarity with the kids who were hurt. Well, this wasn't a bit about keeping kids safe.
No.
This is about taking control of them and getting them to be robots for them.
Rita, I know that you have a family, a very large family, and I know how I raised my son and daughter, and the lack of responsibility by these parents, knowing that this function was going to take place. Had I known that if it were my son or daughter that was tearing down the United States flag and stomping on it, or making statements like, NRA, how many did you kill today? I think that they'd better have really strong buttons on their shirt and or blouse, because I would be dragging them to the car.
Well, before I drug them to the car, they'd be out there making a formal apology, and it would be quite a spectacle if this mom was involved in it, because they would be having to apologize, and there would be noted people taking note, and it would not be just, okay, take your ear and we're headed home, you little buzzard. It would be, okay, do you want to be a spectacle? We'll be a spectacle, and we'll just come out here and we'll have a shouting thing explaining how come you don't step on the flag and how the flag is this, and we're going to give people a history lesson, and it's going to go on and on and on to where that child would say, I'm never getting involved in one of those things again. I don't want my mom to get involved anymore.
Rita, where do we go from here, though? My biggest concern is the poisons in the milk right now. And when I say that, I mean that the Democratic Party has already launched a major campaign to involve these kids, use these kids, and elaborate this issue with these kids. So what's going to happen now? I think, honestly, my own gut feeling is that between now and I will say the end of April, we are going to see a full court press by the Democrats to not only use these kids more, but to force a bigger gun control issue and really denigrate the NRA.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I'm pretty sure that that's going to happen because they saw how successful this was and how it worked, and it was just a starting point. And I think that the only way that we get around it is to start having some dialogue, and that dialogue can start with people writing into the editors of the newspapers, maybe going in to see principals and that type of thing. But people need to become informed, and this is the biggest problem that we have in this country, is that people think they're informed when they read a headline, and that's all they read.
Right.
They think, oh, yeah, I saw that in the paper. Oh, well, yeah. And they don't have a clue what the article was even about. They just saw the headline. Or they listen to the headlines on the news, and there's a few things here and there, and at the top of the hour on many radio stations, I've noticed it on this one too, and I don't even know, I think it's Fox that's on one of the ones, and there's various different ones, but they have their own agendas, and they're always taking jabs at something that President Trump said, like you're supposed to think that he was really out of line, and it's kind of like, if you really know what it was, they're just trying to see if they can't get somebody's ire up.
Well, I don't care if it's CBS, ABC, NBC. I don't care which network it is. I hold them all accountable and guilty for being sleaze artists and not really journalists.
Oh, that's right. And the thing of it is that lots of people are too lazy to get informed, and so they just kind of, oh, yeah, I saw that, and they think they know the whole story, and they don't. I mean, I've heard that from some of my coworkers. They'll say, did you see such and such, or I saw this on the TV last night, and they say something about it, and then I tell them the whole story, and it's kind of like, Oh, well, I didn't say that.
Well, and I've had people come up to me and say, well, I suppose your hands are tied somewhat on your talk show that you can't say anything that denigrates CBS because they're on your network, your show. And I said, no, don't ever think that. I have no respect, and I want to say this emphatically clear for everyone. I have no respect for anyone that does not report the news as it is. They are journalists to the point where they're supposed to report the news and not give their personal snide left side opinion, and I will criticize CBS or any of them anytime I choose.
Well, that's the thing, is you have to stand up for what's right, not what's popular. And so if it's not the right thing, then you have to bring them out on it and recognize when they are right. And that's the deal, is it's really hard to sift through some of that kind of stuff. Right, I was always kind of a backer of Senator Rand Paul, but right now he's kind of on the other side of the fence with a couple of issues with me, and I'll be glad to say that I am, but that doesn't make him a bad person. It just means that I think he's wrong on this particular thing. But he's a Republican, and he's a conservative, and you would think that he was a constitutional conservative, but he's not, apparently. So, sometimes you just have to get up there and say, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, and it doesn't matter who says it.
I agree. Rita, stand by just for a minute. I need to get a weather forecast in here, sponsored by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years with the very best of tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, retirement planning. They know. Every one of the individuals there know how to help you with your taxes. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Right now, here's the weather.
Looks like mostly cloudy skies and on the breezy side for today, and maybe some snow showers for tomorrow. Here's your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch. Mostly cloudy skies. Winds out of the west-southwest right around 10 miles an hour. We are expecting gusts right around 20 and a high of 44 tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a low of 30. Tomorrow, a chance of rain or snow showers. In the afternoon, mostly cloudy skies with a high of 46 for Friday night. Chance of rain showers before midnight, and that could be increasing as we move through the overnight hours with a low of 31. Saturday, 50% chance of rain or snow showers, cloudy skies, high of 42. New accumulations of 1 to 2 inches possible for Saturday, and that could continue through Sunday as well. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 41. That's your weather for Zebeth the Rain.
Whoa, break out the parka. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And they can help you, your family, your business. They can help people starting a business or wanting to hire more employees and expand their business. Please get a hold of them today. As I said, they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for over 50 years. The best. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. We have a call with a quick question, Rita, and then we'll have you respond. Caller, go ahead quickly, please.
Yes, good morning. We know that the Marxist movement in this country is headed by people like Farrakhan and Schumer. They're going after the minds of the young people. And they're going into schools and they're programming our people. Now, why should we have to support this kind of thing in public education, pay taxes, to help a school bring our country down?
I have no argument with any single word you said, Tony. I agree. And for my guest, I'm going to have her respond on the air. God bless you. Rita, go ahead, please respond.
Well, I think he's absolutely right, and I feel the exact same way. I know these things are the things that really irritate us the worst. I guess the biggest thing is that enough people will not get up and not only say no, they should say heck no, and let it be known. And if enough people were going into the school board meetings and into the principal's offices and protesting, if you will, they'd probably start listening. In our area, we have a unique situation in that a good majority of the people here believe a lot the same way we do. They are just not informed. And so that's the biggest problem, is getting people informed, because they believe the same way we do. Get into the big areas, and pretty soon it's a Democrat or Republican issue, and if you're the right if you're on the right, you're automatically wrong, and if you're on the left, you're just the one who is doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And it really is sad, because if enough people, good people in America that were really patriotic and interested in the best for taking care of our kids and protecting them and getting them a good education, would start yelling and screaming and hollering, they'd be listened to. But enough of us don't, because we're civil and we're just making a living.
Absolutely. I want to ask you about two women, two completely different women. One is a liar. One is a fraud and a charlatan, and one is trying to make political gain out of lying about her past. The other is a very strong-willed woman that will let you know exactly what's going on and be very honest and put you in your place. One is Elizabeth Warren. The other is Nikki Haley. How would you respond to what I said?
Well, actually, I guessed wrong on the Elizabeth Warren thing, because she's kind of weird, but I thought you were talking about Hillary whining again. But I knew you were going to be talking about Nikki Haley, and good for her, and she is not mincing any words, and she's letting the world, as well as Russia, knows where we stand on that issue with the chemical weapons and so forth, as well as many other things. But I'll tell you something, I love Nikki Haley, and she would be a wonderful president. But Elizabeth Warren is just like you said. She is a liar, and she's a cheat. And when they said, "Well, hey, let's get a DNA reading on you and find out just exactly how American Indian you are," she all of a sudden poo-pooed that idea. And it's like, no, we don't need to do that.
That's exactly right.
And you know why?
I got to ask you, though, earlier on this program this week, I think it was on Monday, I had political analyst Dan Perkins from Florida on my program, and Dan has been spot on with his predictions about politics ever since, oh my goodness, when Obama was in office. And he made the prediction, and it shocked me, that he said it's hidden right now and they're glossing it over, but he said he honestly predicts that the Democrats and the left will put Hillary up on the ticket in 2020 as a do-over, and he said, I'm standing behind my prediction. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that there's probably something to that. However, there was a lot of censure in the last couple of days with Hillary Clinton and her whining, because there's lots of Democrats saying, hey, tone it down, get out of the limelight, leave things alone. You have a personal problem, not the rest of us, and we don't want to be attached to you. And I think that it may, and maybe it worked to the advantage of the Democrats, trying to get her just totally off if she just keeps on whining like that. So I don't know. I really think the Democrats are tired of being losers. And, I mean, you know how they got Bernie in there, and we're going to make it look like he's a real candidate, and then that was all fixed, and she still couldn't win. So I would be really, really hesitant to say I think they would put her up there. It would be a total surprise to me. But, you know, they get to going off on their tangents, and they are so mad with rage that they can't see anything, and they would probably get to the point where it's like, well, Hillary's the only one whose name is well known, so we better just put her up there and try again.
Yeah. Real quick, Rita, I got less than a minute left, but I want you to respond. I had a good friend of mine, and he wishes to remain anonymous. He's heavily involved in politics in D.C. I use him as a contact point on this program to find out little bits and pieces as to what's going on. And he shared with me the other day that he said the American public in general does not know how serious health problems Hillary has.
Oh, I think that's absolutely right. I've heard a number of people commenting on how she had to have two really big, husky people escorting her just to stand up. It was like her balance has gone all to heck. She must have vertigo, or maybe she's got some kind of a tumor or something. I don't know. But her health has declined, and we've seen it with her coughing attacks. We've seen it with her balancing acts, of which, you know, she's fallen a number of times, and she has to have help getting in and out of vehicles to where somebody who's fit should be able to do that kind of stuff without assistance.
Absolutely. I just think that there's so much more that's under the rug, if you will, politically about Hillary Clinton and the Clinton machine. And I'd like to talk to you more about that next week. Rita, you are always welcome on this program. I look forward to Thursdays. Thank you for clearing the air on a lot of issues. And it looks like I'll say this, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I think winter's not quite over yet, but then, April Fool's is coming up, so this is what the weather's doing.
All right, Rita, thank you so much. God bless.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Wonderful lady right there, Rita Ramsey. I appreciate her. Oh, I'm hungry, and I am starving to death at this time of the morning, and I know some great places for you to go for lunch. I can go to lunch. We all can go to lunch, like the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. They've got fish burgers for under $5. They got the shrimp and the small fry, $7. The famous Farmer Brown burger. You got to go a long way to beat that. I love it. With the fries and the sauce and everything, and a delicious shake at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Well, how about Taco Bandito at 2301 Overland in Burley? Oh, my goodness. Have you had that breakfast burrito? Scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, cheese, onions, tomatoes, and sauce on a tortilla shell. Woo! Along with a cup of coffee. What a great way to start the day. And the menu is great all day at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Burgers, etc. They've got 2 locations serving you, 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. A mushroom combo burger, only $5.99 after 3 p.m. Oh, knock your boots off. Great. Every Sunday, too, at the Burley store, shrimp dinner, only $5.99. Great people. What a menu. Always at 2 locations of burgers, etc. in Rupert and Burley. And last but not least, Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Food made the way you love it. Oh, my goodness. Check out all the new cupcakes. A delicious different flavor every week. Buffalo burgers and a different soup every day. Oh, my goodness. You're going to love the food and the nice folks at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. And those are just a few great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. Right now, we're going to send it over to Wheels, and we'll be back in about 7 minutes with more Zeb at the Ranch. Don't you go away. Oh, good morning, good morning. Wow, it's a return to Nanook of the North out there. My goodness sakes, kind of blustery day. Morning, Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a great big spring tire sale going on right now. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Want to remind you about my dear friends over at Ark Animal Hospital, Dr. Bill and the crew. I'm telling you, they are good. They are polite, they're nice, they're friendly, and very experienced. Yes, it's a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small. They love them all. They can take care of them all. And they're located at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn. And the number to call, number to remember, number to write on your refrigerator or the dash of your pickup, 678-1177. 678-1177. And don't forget, now is the time to get your puppies or dogs vaccinated for that parvovirus. Yes, now is the time at Ark Animal Hospital in Hayburn, where they have warm hearts for cold noses. Hey, don't forget, too, Airvana, defined as the ultimate level of comfort you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. When you buy a new Lennox system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to a $1,700 rebate. Airvana is just another way to make you feel better, so call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. Really, really good people. We are about ready to get underway with our Cassia County School Days for this week, and I want to say a big, big thank you to our two sponsors that have been with this program for a long time, and we thank them. A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. They've got all the toys, all the furniture, all the clothing. They've got it all for you right there. The baby furniture, and of course all the puzzles and games and everything there. Spring dresses are there ready for you for this spring, and they got the 5-piece suits. They've got it all for you at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. Stop in and see them today. Along with the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Now here's the number up front, 677-8888. Call them and they can help you save money on your outpatient surgeries like colonoscopy, knee surgeries. They have got top-notch, great doctors at the Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, 677-8888. Along with A Child's World, bringing you Cassia County School Days. I'm very honored to have not only a dear friend on this program, but a man that I have the ultimate of respect for as the superintendent of Cassia County Schools, Galen Smyer. Good morning, Galen. How are you?
Doing well, Zeb, and how are you?
Well, I was doing fine about, 5-6 days ago, sitting out on my bench by the barn after riding a horse in the arena, and all of a sudden that came to a screeching halt.
Well, don't forget where you live, because if you're tired of the weather, it's Idaho, it's going to change in short order.
Yeah, I hope this changes in short order. Galen, what about the supplemental levy? I wanted to ask you about that this morning. The pros, the cons, the good, bad, and the ugly. What's going on?
We're very pleased that it was supported to almost 64% approval. It required a simple majority, so it just needed 50% plus one to pass. We were disappointed in the voter turnout. I think Joe Larson, the county clerk, said there was about 8,000 registered voters, and we only had about 1,500 votes. So that's a disappointment, but we were pleased with the outcome. And certainly the supplemental is now been reapproved for a 2-year period that will allow us to take care of some textbook needs and address some safety considerations, and it will also allow us to add an additional school nurse. Our current school nurse is paid through a grant from the state, but this will allow us to hire an additional person and also work with the sheriff's office to provide additional resource officer coverage. So we're very pleased with the outcome of the election.
Over at the station, Wheels, I need you, and Mr. Smyer is speaking. Please turn him up just a little bit in my headset, if you would. Galen, I would be amiss if I didn't direct some of what's going on around the United States today to questions to you as a superintendent of schools. And I really would like your opinion. I said earlier, and I'll stand behind what I said yesterday and again today, that I did not like at all students taking it upon themselves to just literally walk out of the classrooms and protest for 17 minutes, and then it went longer. Some of these students used that time that should have been in remembrance of the students that passed away at that horrible shooting in Florida, but they used it to denigrate other people. They used it to stomp on the American flag. What are your thoughts about what took place yesterday?
Zeb, we were aware that there was a media movement to try to encourage those walkouts across the country, and social media was part of that. So we were aware that the potential was there for student walkouts, and we visited with principals and said if they leave, you're going to treat it just like if they left for any other reason. It'll be an unexcused absence if they're gone more than 10 minutes. And we encouraged our principals, you might get with your teachers and maybe hold a brief discussion and talk about some of the issues at hand, and that there are other ways than just a walkout to try to raise awareness and to voice opinions. In my opinion, this has been manipulated from somebody somewhere, and the students are being used. But nevertheless, we have a republic where people, and a democracy where people can and have the right to free speech. It's just we don't want it to disrupt school, and fortunately none of ours were. We had teachers that took a few minutes to talk about their concerns and to pay respects to those who'd lost their lives and been injured, but that maybe took 5 or 6 or 10 minutes, and then they were back to business. So we just treated it as a typical day, but we were prepared that if they got up and walked out, that we would hold them accountable for that. We were cautioned, don't punish them, don't suspend them or anything like that, and we wouldn't have. I mean, we would just treat it like we would anything else. So we were consistent in our application of the rules, and unfortunately and fortunately, the students just stayed the course, and we didn't have any issues in our district.
I will say this, and I mentioned this on Monday on the program, Galen, that I thought the lead from some of the parochial schools around the country was absolutely the best. They could have class assemblies in the gymnasium or the auditorium, or there could be moments of silence in remembrance and commemoration of those students in Florida, but a blatant walkout of class and a disrupting of the educational forum for the day, I found to be extremely repulsive. And I say that the media and the liberal left were responsible for what could have been, in some instances, a very dangerous situation for these kids to walk out of school.
Very definitely. And in often case, if they can get a few of the key leaders to initiate that, then a bunch of other people will jump on board, and so it gives the appearance that it's a widespread belief, but a lot of it's just people trying to be included, and not really having a passion about the particular issue.
I agree with that. In a related issue, of course, Galen, with your expertise and your title as superintendent of schools, I have not really had a chance to sit down with you and ask you about safety and precaution and everything else for your school district as compared to the others in the state of Idaho, and for that matter, the United States. Where are we headed for school security that has to be tightened up somehow or some way? Where are we headed?
Well, recently, Zeb, you'll recall that we talked, sent you some information, and I believe we spoke about the threats that were coming over social media, about and directed at schools, and then some of them became directed at specific to Cassia and Minidoka County, and then another one yet was directed at Declo High School.
Mm-hmm.
We are fortunate in this community, even though we're spread out, we're geographically larger than the state of Delaware, and a lot of people don't realize that, and we've got communities that are spread far apart, but we have the good fortune that our law enforcement agency, the sheriff's office, have resident deputies out in those communities, and even though they're spread thin, when we called upon them, they responded. Not only them, but they were able to call in state police as support. And so that was very comforting to me as a superintendent to know that as we anticipated those potential threats, that we were able to go in and have the support from law enforcement to help keep our students and staff safe. Facility-wise, as we're building and as we're remodeling, we're taking measures to try to secure the access to the schools, to funnel people through one main entrance, and it's changed over the years. Back in the day, you could show up on campus and walk in any door. We're trying to take preventative measures that we restrict access to the schools and try to increase safety that way. But it's a combined effort in trying to change facilities, but also working closely with law enforcement, and then hopefully to be able to get some additional school resource officers in our buildings as needed.
Absolutely. We have a quick call, and then we're going to have to wrap things up. Caller, make it short and sweet, please. You're on the air.
Yes, I just wanted to pre-warn and see what Galen thinks of this. There's a new show that came out Wednesday on TV, and it appeals to mostly the younger generation, well, the scoot kids, and it's kind of an upbeat music type deal. It's called Rise, R-I-S-E, and in that first episode, they made the principal, well, they made the athletes, the star athlete in the show, rather than football, concentrate on the arts. And then it made the principal and the coach, the students went against the principal and the coach, and they burned all the deals for a decent program. What I'm saying.
Well, caller, I've got to have you hurry with your question, caller, because I am almost out of time. Real fast, sum it up.
Okay. Well, anyhow, in that episode, it made the coach and the principal like they had to obey the students.
Okay.
This show is going to have a big influence on this younger generation. I just want to know what you thought of it.
You know, it's a very good question, because I got a report on this program, Galen, and to me it's nothing but causing more insurrection through the public and airways of TV. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm not familiar with the program or their premise, Zeb, or to your caller's question. There are a lot of elements in our country that are trying to sow discord.
Absolutely.
And and they try it at all levels, and now they're using youth. And again, the youth, they have rights, but they also have responsibility. And that's what we're trying to maintain a system where they can express themselves under appropriate circumstances. If it's disruptive, that can't be allowed.
That's right.
If they want to go outside and do something on a Saturday or after school, they can. They've got freedom of speech. They can do what they want, but they don't have the right to disrupt in the school and to interfere with the others' learning and actually the work of the teachers. So.
You know, Galen, I want to compliment you and commend you for the outstanding job that you have done, and thank you for being so straightforward on this program and answering all the questions. And any final thoughts before I let you go this morning?
No, Zab, just we live in a great community. I'm so pleased with the outcome of this supplemental levy election, and we'll continue to try to improve our schools, improve our instruction, so that our students are better served and that they're better prepared for what's a bit of an uncertain future. It's an exciting time to be alive, but technology and everything else is changing. It's a changing world, and we have to be prepared for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you and your listeners.
You are very welcome, Dr. Galen Smyer, the Superintendent of Schools, Cassia County. God bless you, my dear friend. Thank you for being on the program.
Take care, Zeb.
All right, sir. Thank you. I like that man. He's been a good friend for a long, long time. And, of course, Cassia County School Days brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and also the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley. Number to call, 677-8888. We are going to go right back to the phone line, and we have with us a gentleman that is a bereavement coordinator. His name is Ken Burnham, and they're going to be talking about a big meeting that's going to take place at Pomerell Place on this next Tuesday, I believe. Right, Wheels?
Yeah, I'm still trying to get him on here real quick.
Well, you just demand that you get him on. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I want to remind you that at 10:32 this morning, we're going to have one of my favorite guests, and that is Dr. Gerard Lamero. And he's written another new book that is absolutely outstanding. It's called More Great News for America, The Dawning of the New Conservative Era. I hope he's right. And let's see if we have Mr. Burnham ready to go.
Yes, sir, we do.
All right. Mr. Ken Burnham with Harrison Hope Hospice. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Harrison's Hope Hospice.
Well, give us a little background what you do as a medical social worker and bereavement coordinator.
Well, I get to visit all of the patients and their families. I assess their emotional, their social well-being. Kind of check up to make sure that they have everything that they need, and then as the patient progresses and passes away, then as the bereavement coordinator, I get to be with the family for 13 months through phone calls, through letters, personal visits. I do group support, bereavement group support. So as the patient declines, I help them with any emotional difficulties or anything that they might have. We talk about baseball, we talk about politics, we talk about death, and then I transition over to the family, and hopefully we talk about things that affect them after the death of their loved one.
Ken, and I'm going to call you by your first name if you're not offended by that, but how in the world did you get started in this kind of an occupation, and what training did you have to take to be able to be this kind of a counselor and coordinator?
Well, you kind of broke up, so I didn't hear the whole question.
Well, I just basically said, and I hope you can hear me now, is what kind of training did you have to take care of in schooling to become this kind of a professional social worker and counselor?
I have a master's degree in social work, and so I went to 4 years of school and then a couple extra years to get my master's. I attend grief trainings as often as possible. I have books that I read. We, as a company, I go through training every single month. It's not always on bereavement, but I go through training every single month. I try to keep up. I follow a gentleman named Dr. Alan Wolfelt out of Fort Collins, Colorado. He's an expert in the field. He's been doing bereavement for 30 years. And I have learned from him, and in my group support, I listen. I listen a lot because I by no means am the expert. It's the person who's going through the grieving that's the expert, and so I listen to them, and so. Lots of listening.
Let me ask you this, Ken.
Training, lots of listening.
I would imagine so. I want to talk a little bit about what you're going to be doing at Pomerell Place. They are one of our valued advertisers, a place for senior living, and you're going to be having, I understand, a seminar coming up on this Tuesday night. Tell us exactly what you're going to be doing at that seminar.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be doing it the first Tuesday of every month. And as we get a lot of participants and the interest grows, as needed, I can add one every week, one every other week. But what we do is we get together, as in a support group situation, we talk to each other, we learn why we're each there, we learn about the person that we've lost or the persons that we've lost, and then I follow Dr. Alan Wolfelt. He talks about companioning somebody who is grieving, which means you basically take their arm. You walk through it with them. You experience it as they experience it. As they share, and as we as humans, as we share, we become more comfortable with it. We understand it better.
Okay.
The pain will never go away. We don't ever get over it. We learn to cope with it, and that's what these are all about, is talking about them and learning to cope. Dr. Wolfelt says that it's impossible to go forward until we go backward, meaning we don't forget the person who died. We talk about them. We continue to display their pictures. We continue to talk about them. We visit their graves. We talk to others about the pictures and the activities we did. So as we share, we companion. We walk through this together, and as a group, it's a lot easier to do things when there's a group of you doing it rather than having to do it alone.
Absolutely. Now, I've only got about a minute left in this segment, and I want to ask you, this is going to take place at Pomerell Place at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. Do people have to sign up? Do they have to RSVP? Tell us the circumstances.
Mostly just show up.
Okay.
We're going to do it. It's going to be 90 minutes. It might be less than that. It might be a minute or two longer, but 90 minutes. Just show up. It would be wonderful if I knew how many were going to come, but that's not necessary. We just want you to come. We want you to feel comfortable. It's open seating. We want to embrace you and help you to learn to cope and learn to share about your loved one.
All right. Ken, I want to say thank you. I wished I had more time, but I don't. And Ken Burnham is with the Harrison's Hope Hospice. He's going to be speaking at Pomerell Place. Call Pomerell Place to get more information at 677-8212. Mr. Burnham, thank you for being on the program this morning.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Right now, we're going to send it back over to our main studios for a break at the bottom of the hour and be back in about 3 minutes. Don't go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
I am absolutely excited to have this gentleman on my program. I have the utmost respect for him and his first book, which was Great News for America, and now the new book is out. It's called More Great News for America. And I say good morning to my friend, Dr. Gerard Lamero. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am doing great, and it's fantastic to be on your show.
You are very, very welcome to come on my program anytime. I love your insight. I love your book. And I got to be honest with you. I want to say right up front that I received your book a couple of days ago. I have not yet had a chance to read it from cover to cover. I have thumbed through it. And the first thing that I noticed was all the different categories, all the different explanations. This book must have taken an awfully long time to sit down, figure out, and write. It looks like it really has a lot of your personality on every page.
Well, that's true. There's a lot there. It really is jam-packed with information, but in terms of writing it, it only took 4 months to write, and the other books that I've written take more like a year. The reason is I've been really researching this for months and months before I actually did the writing. So it turned out once I had to sit down and write it, it went a lot faster than I really thought it would, but I was happy I got it done in 4 months.
You know, I am very impressed with you on this show with an upbeat, optimistic attitude. You were optimistic way back prior to the elections. You said definitely that Donald Trump was going to win. You said very definitely that Hillary Clinton was going to lose. I have yet to find any prediction that you have said not come about. What are some of the thoughts and concepts that you've compiled for this new book, More Great News for America?
Well, it's really got two different lines of things in there. The first thing is everybody after the 2016 election wanted to know, why are polls so wrong these days, and why were your forecast models right? And so the first 4 chapters of the book go into polling and why the polls have been wrong, and I go through a lot of different details, but not with any complicated mathematics or statistics. This is written for talk radio listeners. It's not written for scientists or anything like that, so it's not hard to read. And then I go into about the forecast model. Same thing. I don't go into any complicated mathematics or statistics. It's just straight common sense language. And then the second major area of the book, the first 4 chapters being polls and models. After that, the next, I think it's 8 chapters, deals with the current trends, the current long-term trends, short-term trends, and what my predictions are. And I make 8 new predictions. The last book I had 10 predictions, and some people say I got 9 right. Some people said I got 10 out of 10 right. And I'll let the readers decide how many are right out of the 10. But most of them are right, probably at least 9, 9.5. And this time I've got 8 new predictions. Some of them are pretty hard to believe. They're a little surprising, but I think they're right, and I think they're happening, and I think you're going to love it.
I've got to ask you, and I don't want to give too much away about the book, but I want to have you explain a little bit about one segment that's very important to me personally, and that's your prediction. That's your prediction of a coming era of conservative enlightenment, and boy, that sounds awful good to me. Explain that just a little, if you would, please.
Okay. Well, one thing that I've said in the past is a conservative era is coming. That means a time period when conservatism is the dominant political philosophy, basically, in the country, kind of a return to the Founding Fathers. And part of this conservative era, I found 4 religious and cultural trends that I call the conservative enlightenment. Enlightenment meaning like people's eyes are lightening. You know, they're seeing light for the first time sometimes. You know, they're seeing something new. And part of the conservative enlightenment are 4 R's. The letter R like in rodeo. And there's 4 R's. One is a return to faith in God, because a lot of people who've been following secular socialism, Marxism, secularism, they don't feel very satisfied. That secular stuff doesn't make them feel good inside. And so there is a trend to return to faith in God. People gave up going to church sometimes, but they're starting to go back. The second R is the renaissance of reason. We have faced, thanks to the political left, a lot of crazy science, junk science. We have heard about climate change, which I know from my modeling, which I am an expert on models, I'll be honest, and that I think climate change is a hoax. Mm-hmm. I think it's a political hoax to basically cause people to do certain things politically. But there's a renaissance of reason because people know they've been fed a bunch of junk science, and there's a new look at wanting to see real science and real knowledge. So that's a renaissance of reason. The third R, and this is a big one too, is the restoration of education. We have had in too many schools across this great nation indoctrination. Liberals who've taken over the school systems, liberals who've taken over the college campuses, and they've tried to indoctrinate people. They've tried to shut up conservatives. They've tried to shut up people who like the Constitution. They've tried to cut out people's freedom of speech. They've given people poor grades if they disagree with them. They have done things like practically throw people out of classes when they disagree with a liberal radical professor. Well, people are getting fed up. And it's not just 1 or 2 people. There's a lot of people. There's a trend. And those people are doing things like cutting off donations to these colleges until they allow freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. And they allow conservatives to talk up freely. And they're also doing things at K through 12 level, like voting for certain conservatives on school boards. There's a whole lot going on. I talk about it in the new book. more great news for America, and that's the third R, the restoration of education, the elimination of indoctrination for political purposes. And the fourth R is the rebirth of morality, freedom, peace, and prosperity. Those four things are in the DNA of American citizens. Americans believe in morality in their government and across the board. They believe in honesty, and they believe in freedom. They want their Second Amendment rights. They want their First Amendment rights, the freedom of speech. They want all of the constitutionally guaranteed freedoms. They also want peace. They don't want people shooting their police officers in the streets. They don't want a lot of other stuff that people have been allowed to get away with, like sanctuary cities, and that where people who are absolutely criminals, they've committed rapes, murders, robberies, are allowed to stay in this country when they got in illegally to begin with. It's ridiculous. Well, people are upset about that. And then finally, prosperity. Americans want to live well. They want to work hard. They want to pay taxes. They're okay paying taxes as long as the government does the job properly. And the prosperity is on the way back, too. So there is a trend toward a rebirth of morality, freedom, peace, and prosperity. It's all coming. And I say the conservative enlightenment that I see, and I'm predicting, and I'm seeing these trends, is terrific.
You know, Doctor, let me ask you this, and Wheels over at the station, we've got a little feedback. Please address that. Let me ask you this, in regards to the return to faith in God and a renaissance of reason and a restoration of education and a rebirth of morality, what, in your opinion, is going to be the tipping point, the final straw, or the motivation to get our society back to a more religious and moral society? What's going to be the tipping point?
It's how people feel deep inside their hearts. They feel dissatisfied. They feel that there's dishonesty in the media. They feel like people aren't treating people with proper respect. Their hearts are saddened to see what America has come to, and they want the Founding Fathers' principles applied right now. They want to see America return to its foundations, which they believe are fundamentally good and decent.
I listen to you, and I become more hopeful every day. One of the chapters that I was thumbing through the book, and I'm going to sit down and read it in its entirety this weekend, was Chapter 12, How and Why the Good Guys Win in the End. Boy, there's an optimistic attitude I hope does come true.
Well, I think it's true. And by the way, the good guys, as you know, since you thumbed through Chapter 12, are the American people.
Right.
And they're the ultimate winners because they want morality, freedom, peace, prosperity. They want true education, not indoctrination. They want reason instead of junk science. And they also want God because they believe in God and His goodness.
You know, Dr. Lamero, of all the times I've had you on the show and we talked about your first book, Great News for America, and now this book, More Great News for America, when they buy the book and they sit down and read it like I am about to, what's the final thought, the final message, or what do you want them to do or achieve when they close the cover for the last time?
I want them to feel great about this country, and I want them to never have anybody talk down to them about this country. They should stand up for their rights, their freedoms, and importantly, they should vote in every election. They shouldn't sit out one election because every election, every congressman we elect, every senator, governor, even the dog catcher, they're all important to us. They all affect our lives. They need, and school boards too, they got to vote for the right school board people. They got to go out and vote. That is a big, big deal.
Well, I want to urge everybody to buy this book, and I want them to really study this book. And I'd like to ask you about some of the current events that are going on today with your attitude. You are always optimistic and upbeat. What were your thoughts about what took place yesterday with the student walkouts at high school campuses across the United States and 15 and 16-year-old kids making demands and basically denigrating our Constitution and our Second Amendment and also the NRA? What were some of your thoughts about what you saw yesterday?
Well, one thing I think of is the fact that this borders on child abuse. To use students as political pawns, because the people who are leading this are not 10-year-olds, okay? The people who are leading this are adults who are helping these kids to go out with their particular political leftist ideology, trying to work up these kids' emotions that guns are bad. And that is just absolutely not true. Okay, bad people use guns poorly. Good people use them to protect their family and themselves. And I think using kids in this way borders on child abuse, and it's certainly political abuse of these poor kids who haven't had a chance to get educated.
Absolutely. One final thought, and this happened Monday on my program. I had another political analyst on my show, and he made no bones about it. He said when the dust settles, the Democrats are going to revert back to asking and nominating Hillary Clinton to run again in 2020, and he said it's going to be called the do-over campaign, and he thinks she's going to be the nominee. What are your thoughts?
I don't think she's going to be a nominee whatsoever. I think she is repudiated. I think even the Democrats are sick and tired of listening to her and her false narratives and her false news and her false stories. And how dare she treat women as badly as she does, telling them that they're just the boobs who just do what other people tell them to do. That's ridiculous. I don't think she's going to go anywhere. And by the way, I don't wish anybody bad, but she keeps falling and stuff. I didn't even know she's going to be able to stand up for the next election.
Absolutely. Now, this book, More Great News for America, please tell us where my listening audience can pick up a copy of your great new book.
Okay, they can buy it at Amazon in Kindle or print edition. We try to charge the lowest amount possible to make it easy for everybody to purchase. They can also go to my website, greatnewsforamerica.com, so they can buy it on the website, buy it at Amazon. They can go into their store if they want to and order a copy, because stores don't carry every book these days. And by the way, if you're thinking about some of your kids and you're worried about their future, I recommend you give them this book.
Absolutely.
And read and let them see their future and how good it is, and not just listen to the leftists in some of their schools and colleges. College kids in your family, high school students, let them read the book and see another side and how great America truly is.
Well, I know you conduct a lot of interviews, and I know this book is going to be another great seller with all kinds of great optimism for this country. And I salute you, Dr. Gerard Lamero, author of the book More Great News for America, The Dawning of the New Conservative Era. You are welcome here anytime, my friend. Take care, and God bless.
God bless you, and God bless all your listeners.
Oh, thank you very much. I enjoy having that man on my program because he's optimistic and he has a great far-reaching insight as to what's happening politically and all the world events, national events, and I really respect him, Dr. Gerard Lamero, and the author again of this book. Get it. It's a great book. I can't wait to finish it this weekend. More Great News for America. Dr. Gerard Lamero. Holy cow, we've got to get a weather forecast on here, and then we'll take some more of your phone calls at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Scarro's Meats brings us the weather for this hour, and they're located at 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Oh, Oh, my goodness, all the delicious breakfast sausages and the bacons, and the bratwurst and the smoked hams and the marinated prime ribs. The list goes on. Absolutely fantastic. Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Right now, here's the weather.
Looks like mostly cloudy skies and on the breezy side for today, and maybe some snow showers for tomorrow. Here's your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch. Mostly cloudy skies. Winds out of the west-southwest right around 10 miles an hour. We are expecting gusts right around 20 and a high of 44 tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a low of 30. Tomorrow, a chance of rain or snow showers. In the afternoon, mostly cloudy skies with a high of 46 for Friday night. Chance of rain showers before midnight, and that could be increasing as we move through the overnight hours with a low of 31. Saturday, 50% chance of rain or snow showers, cloudy skies, high of 42. New accumulations of 1 to 2 inches possible for Saturday, and that could continue through Sunday as well. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 41. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And thank you very much, Gina, for taking care of the weather for us. Excuse me, and brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number to call, 324-7657. Or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Scarro's Meats. We have time for 1 or 2 phone calls, and I would really like to wrap the week up by hearing from some of you folks and your opinions on some of the stories and guests that we've had here this morning. So give us a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Once again, as you probably heard yesterday, Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fishing Game is going to be teaching a college credit course. You know what it is? Wild About Fishing. I'm not kidding. Big old Kelton. And he's going to have a Wild About Fishing workshop that's going to be held at the Jerome Department of the Idaho Department of Fish and Game. It's going to be Friday afternoon and Saturday afternoon, excuse me, April 13th and 14th. And all you have to do to get registered for this class is just call 324-4359. That number again, 324-4359. It's a Wild About Fishing class and being taught by the incredible bulk, Kelton Hatch. Going to be good. Going to be a lot of fun. And one other quick note while I wait for your call. I got to get this right here. Seedling tree orders are now being taken by the Soil and Water Conservation Districts. 11 varieties of seedlings are available, deciduous, conifers, and shrubs. Quantities are limited, and you must pre-order. And the order forms, photos, and descriptions are available at the Soil and Water Conservation District offices in Burley and Rupert. And you can call 208-436-4202. Doreen McMurray sending us that public service announcement. Okay, your turn. Give us a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to remind you, too, about our major sponsor and all they do for you and me, everybody, with our driving safety. That's right. They're having a big spring tire sale right now where you can roll into spring worry-free with the tires that you need for your car, your pickup, your SUV. They've got them all. Many, many, many are on sale at prices that you do not want to pass up. On sale right now, the Eclipse tire for your car. All-season traction, advanced tread design, starting at just $61.97. On sale for your pickup, the Open Country HT. Quiet running, smooth ride, on sale starting at just $151.04. You'd better check it out today with all 7 locations serving you. And also the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, Lane in Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike in Buell, Mike in Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, bar none, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We had a good week. We had a fun week. We had a very interesting week. And next week on the show, we're going to have more great people coming on. Julio Rivera is going to be on. He's going to be talking about immigration and immigration reform. We will have our last Idaho legislative update on Tuesday. Looking forward to, I believe Fred Wood's going to be on the program that day. And many, many others all next week on Zeb at the Ranch. So be sure and tune in. I want to stress the fact, too, that we get a lot of people every week saying, well, what about your blog every week, Cow Pies and Coffee Cups? All you have to do is go to zebbell.com and click through everything and click on your address, and we will send it to you. Every week, Cow Pies and Coffee Cups. Go to zebbell.com. So thank you very much. Also, our thanks go out to K-Bar 1230 and Wheels over at our main studios. And, of course, like I mentioned, we're on the internet all over the world, zebbell.com. I want to wish you and your family a very, very safe and fun weekend. Whatever the weather is, just put a big smile on your face, and then be sure and be back here again next Monday at 8:06. We'll ride the horse for 3 hours on this talk show, and we look forward to hearing from you. And remember this, the way things were are the way things ought to be. We'll see you Monday. Be sure and tune in.